Okay, so essentially, these three sessions, what they're going to be about is upgrading our Shabbat and really teaching us how to do things right. Because there's a lot of different things on Shabbat where it's very all you have to know is the best way to do it, the correct way to do it, and then you are sailing through. It's those situations where you're not sure, can I do this? Can I not do this? And then you say, oh, I better not, because maybe not, and it's amazing how many things people don't do because they're worried that they're getting it wrong. So therefore, the idea is that we're going to try and get it right. We're going to teach you a lot of the most important things that you need to know about Shabbat. And those will, sorry, just one second. Yes. Hi, Mrs. Silken. We're online now. Sure, no problem. No problem. Okay. Gila, do you mind sending Sarah the link, please?
Not at all. I'm going to have to do whatever. I'll be gone for a bit, but then I'll come back.
Your phone. Okay, sure. Okay, brilliant. Firstly, we've all experienced the beauty of a Shabbat in one form or another. For some of you, it was this past week with the Shabbat Project, which actually incredibly spanned 12 languages, according to their website, no less than 1,685 cities in 106 countries across the globe, which is quite impressive, quite an impressive amount of people. And so really, sort of as a follow-on from that, we decided to run these sessions, and especially because we've got lockdown anyway at the moment, so we're all spending time in our houses. Shabbat, especially, we're at home, and therefore it's a time when we can really invest in that Shabbat. We can invest in our family, we can invest in upgrading it. There's a beautiful line from Rabbi Sachs that I just heard actually recently on a video from his, which was, if you want to avoid burnout mid-career, he said, you have to find and keep Shabbat. It's the world's greatest seminar in work-life balance. The world's greatest seminar in work-life balance. And it's just so profound, this should be in his memory, that it's so profound when you think about nowadays the frenetic pace of life, and then you think about the whole concept of taking one day and you can't do any of that and you're just in a completely different zone. It's just, that is the way that we're going to succeed in that work-life balance, okay? The first thing which I always introduce my classes with, especially when we're learning the halakha, when we're learning different rules of Jewish living, is that life is a journey. Some of the things that you hear tonight, you'll be familiar with and you'll know. Others may well sound new to you. But either way, the most important thing to remember is that life is a journey. We're all at some stage of our own journey. It's not about doing everything all at once, but it is about making sure that we're moving forward in that journey, that we're going places, okay, that we're growing. And therefore, that knowledge gives you the power to be able to do that at your own pace in your own time, okay? And the second thing, which is true across with every class, all questions are good questions. The number of times people say to me, oh, it's not well, it's a bad question, this is a silly question. No such thing as a silly question, okay? So if anyone's got a question in the middle for either myself or for Gila, then please do stop, or you can ask on the chat, whichever you prefer. Stop us in the middle and ask a question, okay? Brilliant. So we're going to begin in Gila's kitchen. Firstly, thank you, Gila, because I know Thursday night in the Ross household, I can imagine.
This is how my kitchen always looks on a Thursday night in the winter. Shabbat comes early.
He forgot.
But you know what the challenge is now is that it's so clean. I don't want to do any of the cooking.
I think we should buy you in supper for getting your kitchen this clean on a Thursday night. Or we should buy you in Shabbat food, in fact. That would be nice.
The reason why he's offering that is because he doesn't know how many people we are to feed to.
It's true. Okay, so the first thing is in terms of actual cooking on Shabbat. So the one of the prohibitions of Shabbat, one of the things that we can't do is to cook from scratch, to start cooking things from raw. So therefore, there are different methods that we can use. You have to make sure that we enjoy Shabbat and that we have hot food. So therefore, the first thing that we're going to use, which is very important, and a lot of you saw last week, is the hot plate. So have you got a hot plate there to show us, Gila?
Yeah, give me a moment. Whoa.
So as we go over to the hot plate, okay,
So this is, let me just give me a minute while I figure out how to use oh, here it is. There we go. So, nope, spill meat. Hold on just a second. Oh, so as you can see, that's my hot plate. Rabbi Berman, was there something in particular you wanted me to show about it?
Yes. So one of the most important things about the hot plate is that it's not adjustable. Okay.
Right.
So the hot plates, which are made, they're normally made specifically for Jewish people, I believe, because otherwise you'd have a sort of a dial or a knob or something like that on it. But the good thing for that helps us on Shabbat, because then we don't have to worry that we're going to come to adjust it. Okay, so remember that, because that's going to be very important when we speak about ovens.
So this actually happens to be a regular. It's a Russell Hobbs one, and it's not adjustable. I think they come under. You can see it just got the on light for when it's on, and it goes off when it's off. But it, as Robert Berman said, not adjustable. I think they may be called warming trays or something if you're looking to get it in an Argos type shop.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing to know about the hot plate is you can use a time switch, so that you don't need to leave your hot plate on the whole of Shabbos. You can have a time switch. There you go. Thank you. So you've got a time switch there. You set it before Shabbos, and then you can have your hot plate go on when you need it. So you probably want it to go on for Friday night, and then again for Shabbos lunch. Okay.
Right. And then you can also switch it off overnight, so you're not worried about having it on the whole night.
Okay. So the easiest way, therefore, if you want food for Friday night, which is going to be hot, you just simply put it on the hot plate before Shabbos begins, and then you'll have hot food for Friday night. You take it off on Friday night. Make sure to take it off before you serve it. That's important to remember, because we're worried that if you start serving and you start mixing it while it's on the hot plate, then you're going to be cooking it more. So you take it off the hot plate and then you serve it. And then you've got your Friday night food sorted. Now for Shabbos day, Shabbos morning, you can either have food which you leave on the hot plate from before Shabbos, or alternatively, there are some things which you can put on the hot plate on Shabbos morning. And those things are only foods which are fully cooked and which are dry. So foods such as schnitzels and those type of things are a good thing. You can put those on the hot plate on Shabbos morning. The fully cooked schnitzels that just need to be heated up, those you can put on the hot plate on Shabbos morning. However, when it comes to sauces, whether it's chicken with gravy or meatballs with sauce or soup or things like that, which are cold, those you can't put on the hot plate on Shabbos morning, even though they're cooked and you're heating them up. But nevertheless, with liquids, that is considered to be cooking. So you can't put those on the hot plate on Shabbos morning. So if you want something like that, there is a different kitchen appliance that we're going to use. So maybe, Gila, you can show us, what would we use? Look at that.
There you go. So there you go, is what you have is, if you want like warm food that gives you more options for Shabbos lunch, your crockpot is your friend. So firstly, before anything, you may notice that I have a silver foil that's in between. Sorry, I'm going to try and do this one-handed without smashing it. So basically, it's in between. It's lining the actual element part of it, and then the crockpot goes inside it. So while I'm just getting it back inside, hold on just a second. So the reason for that is, Rabbi Birnbaum, do you want to share with us the reason while I'm...
So we said before, you might have noticed that the crockpot there does have an adjustable dial. Okay, a lot of crockpots do. Some are just on and off, but a lot of them have an adjustable dial. So like we said before, when we're dealing with things which have a possibility of adjusting them, then we are concerned that you might actually come to adjust it on Shabbos. So we don't want to put people in a situation where they're going to walk over to their crockpot, and like they would do any time during the week, they're going to start turning it a bit higher, a bit lower, put it on warm, etc., etc. So therefore, there are a couple of solutions to this. The simplest one maybe is what Gil has shown you over there, which is to have something which is different for Shabbos. And that will serve as a reminder. So in this case, it's lining the heating element, which is, in her case, I think, on the walls, right? Am I right? In your case, on the walls, sometimes they're on the bottom. But you line the heating element with silver foil, which then comes out, overlaps, so you can actually see it on the outside. And since it looks different, it's recognizable. You know, it just gives you that, hang on, it's Shabbos a minute, don't turn the dial up, right? Don't turn the knob because it's Shabbos. Okay, so that's what that does.
I think he'll be back with us. Is it? Rabbi Birnbaum, is everyone else still?
Yep. We can hear you.
Rabbi, can I just ask a question? I think you said the other day that once you've taken the food off the hot plate, you shouldn't put it back on there.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that?
Okay, good question. So let me qualify that. There are some cases in which you can put the food. I don't understand. Sorry. There are some cases in which you can put the food on, and others in which you can't. So, for example, let's do the principle. The principle is that we're concerned that if you put a food onto the hot plate, or any other heat source, that it will look like you are cooking it initially. It resembles cooking. We don't want to do anything that resembles cooking. So therefore, in order to make sure that something just, if you take something off, in order that you're putting it back on doesn't look like you're just putting it on for the first time and it resembles cooking, you have to have a couple of conditions if you want to return it. So the main ones of those are that your intention when you took it off was to put it back on. So let's say, for example, you took off a kugel Friday night or a chicken on Friday night. Everything's fully cooked, everything's hot. So there's no issues of sort of rewarming, reheating. So as long as your intention was to put it back on when you took it off, and you continue to hold the pot or the pan, whatever it is. So in one hand, you can have it on the side, resting on the side, but you're holding onto it with one hand, and you're returning it to something which is not adjustable, like your hot plate, then you would be able to return it. Okay? But if you took something off and you had no intention to return it at all, then you wouldn't be able to return it. And obviously, if something has cooled down, let's say you took your chicken soup off and then, after the meal's finished, then you decide, oh, I want to put it back on, then it would be too late because it's already cooled down. So we're talking about you could return things if you make sure you hold on to it and then you put them back on while they're still hot to something which is non-adjustable. Yeah, in that case, you could return. So we've seen the crock pot, which is a very useful thing. Now, and how to set it up for Shabbos. We've spoken about last time we met. We spoke about urns.
Rabbi Birnbaum, sorry, yeah. I missed a little bit because I think I froze out, got knocked out for a little bit. So I don't know if you discussed about what sort of foods you can put in the crock pot and the raw and the cooked. Did we cover that?
No. So go on. So do you want to do that part?
Right. So the truth is, Rabbi Birnbaum is not going to like what I'm going to say next, so he's just going to close his mouth a bit. But the crock pot is I think most commonly known for the cholent, right? Now, if you are like myself and don't like the taste of cholent, that you've got a whole range of other options in what you can do in the crock pot. Now, there's two ways that you have to use for the crock pot. Two options you have. You can either do that. Let's say you're making your cholent, right? So it has to be either that it's a third cooked before Shabbat comes in, or what you could do, because you're making it because Rabbi Birnbaum was saying about things being fully cooked, what you could actually do with a slow cooker, and if you're making a dish for Shabbat lunch and you've got like a raw meat or something in it, is you can actually put it all in fully raw before Shabbat, switch it on before Shabbat, and then let it cook on Shabbat, right? So those are your two options, which again opens you up to a whole host of other things that you can make in it. For example, you could make, chicken, and you can also use your time switch to set the timer, to set the slow cooker to go on a little bit later if you don't want it to cook that long. So. Okay, so I have a question here from the start. How long before Shabbat is it best to switch it on? So I personally, and again, I don't think this is a very rabbi-friendly answer, but I personally don't like the taste of cholent and like long, slow cooked meals. So I personally just put it all raw and literally switch it on before I light candles. So just before Shabbos, I've got other recipes. I'm happy to share them afterwards of chicken, which I take it out frozen from the freezer. I put it in the crock pot, and I set the time switch to come on, let's say, I don't know, midnight or 12 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So then it's only cooking for 10 hours as opposed to the 15 or at this time of year, like 20 hours or something. So the slow cooker is really a great invention. I don't think it was originally invented for Shabbos, but it may as well have been. It's so good.
We've definitely adopted it, that's for sure.
And I think anyone who's in the kitchen appreciates on Shabbat morning when the food is already cooked and you don't have to do it. You come in and you've got this delicious hot smelling taste. So that's the other perk of the crock pot, or even pulling out the food from the fridge and warming it up on Shabbos day on the hot plate.
Excellent, good. Thank you very much for that. So just a quick recap. You've got two options really. Either you put the food in where it's fully cooked, but we're talking about putting things in the crock pot before Shabbat. So in answer to the question, yes, it could be liquid, it could be anything you like, because you're putting the food in there before Shabbat. So therefore, once you put the food in before Shabbat, then you've got two options. Either that food could be that it's raw when you put it in, and you put it in close to when Shabbat begins, and then we're not worried you'll come to adjust it. Or alternatively, you put it in when it is either fully cooked or it's at least half cooked. Okay, and then again, we're not worried that you'll come to adjust it. So those are kind of your two options, depending on how well cooked you like the cholent or stew or whatever else you're going to put in it. To be honest, you can also put cholent on a hot plate if it's already cooked. As long as it's already cooked, then you can put it on a hot plate just to keep it warm. But the slow cooker will actually cook it. That's what they're designed to do, sort of overnight. The next thing to discuss, I think, is ovens. A lot of people ask me, can I just use my oven on Shabbat? Can I just use my oven on Shabbat? So obviously we can't turn the oven on, but the question is, can we do all of these things, leaving the food in the oven before Shabbat, putting dry foods in on Shabbat morning? Are we allowed to do things like that? Okay, so the oven is definitely different from the hot plate. And the main difference between the oven and the hot plate is that the oven is adjustable, very much adjustable. If you can see that every oven has dials and knobs and various things to adjust it. And in addition, it's the place where you usually cook. It's the place where you usually cook, unlike a hot plate, which is used normally just for warming foods. So therefore, we've got a problem that, number one, we're worried you'll come to adjust it. And number two, it resembles cooking. So therefore, for that reason, you can never put anything into the oven on Shabbat. You're not going to be able to put your schnitzel or anything inside the oven on Shabbat morning, because it always resembles cooking, because it's the place where you normally cook. Even if your oven was on before Shabbos, you're not turning it on now, you won't be able to put in anything on Shabbat morning. What about leaving food in it on Friday night? Maybe you have a timer on the oven that you can set. Are you allowed to leave food in it on Friday night? So the answer is that the first things you have to check are, can I open the oven door? Because you're going to want to take your food out in the middle of Friday night dinner. Can I open the oven door on Shabbos? Gila, I don't know if you could demonstrate with what happens when you open your oven door?
So the truth is, I could demonstrate when I told you that I could a few days ago, but now, of course, it's messing up. But, oh, actually, it's working again.
There you go.
Mind the mess in the oven, because, you know, when we have to clean up the kitchen, that's where you put everything, right? So you can see that when I open the door, the light goes on. Now, because it's a fairly new oven, it's possible that there is a way to switch off the light, but I haven't figured out yet how I can switch it off. So in effect, that means that I can't use my oven. I can't open up my oven on Shabbos. So even if on Friday night I wanted to heat up the food and leave it in the oven to stay warm, then I wouldn't be able to, because the light still goes on. But some ovens, what they do have is they have a switch that you can switch the light to stay on, right? Which means that it's on the whole time, and then it wouldn't kick in and switch on when you open the...
Good. We're going to get to fridges. Question. We're going to get to fridges.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. It's a great question. But so that's one thing I think to bear in mind when you're thinking about leaving the food in the oven.
The other things to be aware of are that on a lot of the modern ovens, even if the light doesn't actually go on, or you can leave the light on, a lot of them, the screen actually changes when you open the door. So then again, you wouldn't be able to open the door if you're going to be changing the display on the screen. And others, a fan or that sort of thing. So the first thing that you will have to do, if you want to leave food in your oven for Friday night, again, you're putting it in before Shabbos, and it's just a question of how you can open the door to take it out. The first thing you have to check that when you open the door, there is no noticeable change at all. Nothing is happening on the screen, no light is going on or off or anything else. and there's no fan or anything else that might be going on when you open the door. That's the first thing you have to check before Shabbos comes in, right? Don't leave your Friday night food in there and then realize on Shabbos, oops, I didn't check that. Now, the second thing is,
in such a case, would you be allowed to ask a non-friendly, non-Jewish neighbor to help you out if you left your food in the oven?
Yes, you would. If your food is stuck there in your oven and it's Friday night, you can knock on your neighbor's door, non-Jewish neighbor, and ask them to come and do it. This is one of the exceptions to the rule. In this case, you would be able to ask your non-Jewish neighbor. Now, make sure you give them something to eat as well, yeah? The second thing is, we are worried because, as we said, an oven is adjustable. We're concerned that you're going to come to adjust it on Shabbos if you leave the food in there. So therefore, the way to avoid this problem is make sure your food is fully cooked. Make sure the food is fully cooked before Shabbos, or at least a half cooked. Okay, normally when you put things in before Shabbos, hello, Rabbi Ross. Normally when you put things in before Shabbos, because it's going to be for Friday night, it will, I assume anyway, be cooked before. But just in case, make sure it's at least half cooked and preferably fully cooked before Shabbos. And remember, like we said, this is all only applicable to putting food in before Shabbos begins. You're not allowed to put food in on Shabbos morning. The third thing, though, to be careful of, actually, sorry, when you open the door on Shabbos, is the ovens are very sensitive. Their thermostats can be very sensitive. So even if there's nothing on the screen or anything, what will often happen is that while you open the door, the cold air will turn on the heating element. So therefore, ovens that not a lot of ovens have like an indicator which shows you when it's heating up. So if that indicator is on and the oven is already heating up, that's the time when you should open the door, because you're not going to make any change. You're not going to make the element go on. It's already heating up by itself. So therefore, just before Shabbos, again, check that you have the type of oven that you're not going to be you're not going to be turning the light on or causing a change on the screen or the fan or anything else. And you've got that little indicator light which shows you when it's heating. That just goes on from time to time when the oven is on. Wait till that indicator light comes on, and then on Friday night, that's when you'd be able to open your door in order to get the food out. Okay, so it is a little bit complicated, and that's why hot plates are simpler. Hot plates are definitely simpler. The other way to go, actually, is some ovens have a warming tray. So if your oven has a warming tray, those are non-adjustable. They're either on or off. They normally have the food is about 90 degrees or something, that type of temperature. You cannot cook in one of them. They are made for heating up food, and therefore that would be okay. Again, you may have to leave it on the whole of Shabbos, depending if you've got a timer or not, but that would be okay. That would be permitted to use in the same way as a hot plate. So either to leave food in before Shabbos, either to leave food in before Shabbos. Gila's going to teach us how to make jachnon. I'm sure Gila knows. Gila said, what's that? You know what jachnon is? Jachnon is a Taimani dish.
Here's my full disclosure. If you ask me how to make chamim, I can help you out. I'm half, my mom's Moroccan, so I'm half Middle Eastern, half Moroccan, but do not know how to make that. Sorry.
Okay, so Heda's going to have to be in touch with you and teach you how to make jachnon. So yeah, if you've got a warming tray in your oven, which is a separate compartment that is just used for warming, then you would be able to put food in either before Shabbos, or if it's fully cooked and it is a solid, like something like a schnitzel or something, you'd be able to put it in on Shabbos. Okay, I think we're going to continue our journey around the Ross's kitchen. What's next, Gila? Where are we going next?
So I think we should answer Lee's question, because it was a really good question in terms of the fridges. So he's actually 100% right that the fridge is this is a little bit nerve-wracking because I didn't check whether it's clean before or not. So you're all going to forgive me if it's not. But the fridges usually have a let me see if I can show you. Can you see that that's the light, which is off? So because because sometimes the Friday gets a little bit hectic, what we do is we keep our fridge light off the entire week, so it's one less thing to remember. And
Shabbos all week in the Ross's household.
So the way that we did it for our fridge, can you see, is the way I'm going to take it off right now. The way it works is, now you've got the light on. This switch is what switches the light on and off. Now the truth is, it's possible that this fridge also has an alarm system that if you leave it open too long, it sets it off to remind you to close it. So that little switch that I showed you is what operates all those mechanisms about the light and the alarm and the thermostat and all these different things. So I just take that over and I leave that tape on there the whole week, and then it's just one less thing that I have to remember to do. Funnily enough, we always seem to find the food in the fridge, even without the lights. The truth and the thing is, I'm sure Roberto can tell you more about it, is depending on your fridge, some fridges work magnetically. And our old fridge before we had this one actually worked magnetically. And what you have to do is you have to get a little magnet. I'll show you one that I have up here. If you could see, sometimes it's even smaller than this. And it's just a question of moving it around the fridge door and finding where you would have to, because basically the way it works is that when you open the fridge, you're sort of like pulling the magnet away from the other magnet, and that sets off the mechanism to tell them that the fridge door is open. So basically what you're doing is you're putting a magnet over there and you're tricking the fridge into thinking that the door is closed, and then you can open it and close it and not worry about lights going off. So I've done it before. It's not such a complicated procedure to find out exactly where you need to put it on the fridge. And once you've done that, you can just take a little blue tack and stick the magnet to the fridge, and then you're good. I mean, if you prefer to take it off and put it back on every week, you could do that as well. But we find it easier to just leave it like that, because knowing us, we probably forget.
When I have to tell you, when I came back to England, we got a Samsung fridge, and we had a magnet and could not find for the life of me where to put this magnet to make the light go off. And then I Googled it, and lo and behold, someone else, another Jewish person, had taken a video of exactly the same fridge, and the magnet went on top of the hinge, interestingly enough. So, you sometimes have to sort of play around with it. But that is the way to make sure that your light doesn't go on in the fridge. It used to be that with the old-fashioned fridges, you could just unscrew the light bulb. But nowadays, they're nearly all LEDs. So there's no, the only option is to sort of make it think that the door is closed all the time, either by sellotaping, as Gila showed us, if there's a little switch, or by using a magnet. And nearly all fridges, I think probably all fridges, you can do that. And it doesn't damage it at all. It's absolutely fine. The other thing is freezers as well, again, just to make sure that lights are not going on when you open the freezer. Now, there are some models, very, very new models of fridges and freezers that also have a display, and that the display might actually show something when you open and close it. So if you do have such a fridge or a freezer, the first thing to check is if there is a Shabbos mode. By the way, ovens as well. Some ovens have a Shabbos mode as well. So you can check if your model has a Shabbos mode. Definitely before buying one, I would check if it has a Shabbos mode, especially if it's sort of very high tech and has like a big screen on the front and that type of thing. And some of them have a Shabbos mode, which would mean that the screen isn't displaying anything. Otherwise, just make sure that before Shabbos that there's nothing on the screen again, which is actually going to change when you open and close the door. I think there's one more kitchen appliance, a dishwasher.
Yes, that's right. I'll show you the outside of the dishwasher.
Okay. In terms of the dishwasher on Shabbos, you can stack the dishwasher on Shabbos. So therefore, when you clear up the plates after your meal, it's absolutely fine to stack the dishwasher on Shabbos. You can give them a quick rinse in order to make sure the food doesn't sort of get stuck and hardened on it. But what you shouldn't do, obviously, is turn the dishwasher on Shabbos. You should not turn it on Shabbos, and even putting it on a timer should not be done for Shabbos. So wait till after Shabbos before you actually activate your dishwasher, so that and then you'll wash everything up after Shabbos in the dishwasher, rather than having it to go on over Shabbos.
And just to add that, because it's a question I got last week from a few people, if you need the dishes on Shabbos, then like if you're eating on Friday night and then you need them for the rest of Shabbos, or even for the afternoon, you're allowed to use the old-fashioned dishwasher and wash them by hand.
That's right. So Lee just asked, why is it different from in terms of a timer switch? Lee, I thought you were asking what the difference is between a hot plate and a dishwasher, because you hadn't been in the kitchen for such a long time.
I won't tell Rachel you asked that.
Lee's asking what the difference is. Why can't you put your dishwasher on a timer, whereas you can put your hot plate on a timer? So the answer is essentially because the way dishwashers work is that when you close them, then you actually trigger the mechanism to go on. They have a safety mechanism to make sure also that water doesn't spray all over your kitchen. And therefore, when you actually close the dishwasher for the last time before it turns on, whenever that last time might be, you know, before you go to bed in the night, whatever it is, then you're actually going to trigger that closing of the safety mechanism, and therefore you are causing it to go on later on. So even though you're not putting it on sort of immediately then and there, you're triggering something which is going to happen a bit later on. Whereas the hot plate, it doesn't make a difference. You know, there's no, whether you've got food on it or not, the timer will just work. It will go on or off. Okay, we thank you very much, Gila. That was good fun. And thank you for showing us your kitchen. It's lovely. I hope it gets more messy now for the rest of the night, and it's full and busy.
Yes, and hopefully the magic fairies will come and clean it up for me before the morning.
We're sending them on their way. I'd now like to introduce, this is Sarah Silkin. Sarah has joined us all the way from sunny Golders Green, I believe, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Is it still
all
sunny?
the way here? Well, I'm indoors, so I can't exactly see, but yes. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone.
Sarah's going to tell us about candle lighting.
Right, candle lighting. Okay, so you can see here as my candles. There we go, there we go. And here's my Shabbat table. I like to put the tablecloth on Thursday night. It makes me feel that I'm getting ready for Shabbat, even though I haven't done much cooking. I just get the feel that Shabbos is coming. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way through how I like my Shabbat candles and a little bit some ideas behind the candles. So I recommend that everyone has a calendar in their house because that gives you the time when Shabbat comes in and when to light the candles. But if you happen to not have one, usually about an hour or so before sunset, 1 minute, my screen gone funny, 1 second. There we go. An hour and a half, about an hour or so before sunset is the earliest time to light, and about 18 minutes before sunset is the latest time. Now, I have this pet peeve that people don't always understand the importance of lighting Shabbat candles on time. If you haven't managed to light it between those times, it's best not to light. People sometimes say to me, but I feel that I need to light. And I always say to them, it's better not to light than to light on time. And I remember once my friend telling me about, she only lights Shabbat candles in the winter time because it's more convenient in the summertime. And I said, so it doesn't work like that. So it's always best to have a calendar and try and light Shabbat candles according to the calendar times. Okay, so
can I just point out one thing? So Sarah's absolutely right. Once it gets too late and actually Shabbat has already come in, then we mustn't light candles. The time which is published in the calendar does have a little bit of leeway, okay? It has a little bit of leeway, but this is only to be used in extraneous circumstance, yeah? You know, it's, you know, the thing where it says in case of emergency, break glass, you know? So you have about another 10 minutes after the time which is published as candle lighting time before actually it is sunset. So therefore, in extenuating circumstances, then you would be able to light up to 10 minutes from the time published in the calendar. Lee's making a good point that yes, if you light early, then you need to keep Shabbos from that point, at least the person who lit the candles. So let's say, for example, if someone's wife lit the candles, she decided she wants to light the candles half an hour early and she can put her feet up for half an hour and no more preparation, then she could do that, but it doesn't obligate the husband. The husband obviously would have to make sure that Shabbat, he's ready for Shabbat to begin at the final candle lighting time. Sorry, come on, carry on, Sarah.
No, that's okay, no problem. Okay, so is it best to light before the candle time's in? Rabbi Birnbaum, you want to help the answer?
You don't need to light before the time on the calendar. No, you can if you want. If you can't light too early, as Sarah said, there's an earliest time. You know, you can't start Shabbat on Friday morning or even Friday lunchtime. So if you want to look up on something like myzmanim.com, if you don't have your own calendar, then there's a time, it will tell you they're the earliest candle lighting time, and it's about an hour and a half or so before sunset. But no, you can light at the candle lighting time. That's absolutely fine. The one published in the calendars.
Right. And obviously I try as much as I can to be as organized as possible. So always say in the summer, there's more time to rush, and in the winter it's a little bit harder. But I try, because I just feel it creates that special atmosphere in the house if I'm calm and I'm organized and I'm not rushing. But it's a lifelong process. And each week I tell my children, we mark how good our Erev Shabbat was, from 1 to 10, how good it was. Okay, so it's interesting because even though Shabbat candles is a woman's mitzvah, it's the mother of the house that lights the Shabbat candles. It's a lovely custom that the husband actually is the one that prepares the candles. Rabbi Birnbaum, right? Is that true? Okay.
Yep, mine are already done. I get extra points this week.
So it's just a lovely thing that the husband helps the wife with this mitzvah of Shabbat candles, and he puts the candles out. And it just sort of creates that shalom bayit, that peace and harmony in the house, which is obviously what we want and what we want to create. Okay, so we put our Shabbat candles out. Now, some people put it on the Shabbat table. You don't have to. Some people put it on like a shelf or like on a cupboard. I have like a little like stand cupboard next to my Shabbat table. The main thing is that when you sit at your Shabbat table having your Friday night dinner, you can see the candles. And again, that creates that ambience that you can see the candles and just brings that lovely glow into your house. Okay, so Erev Shabbat comes, I look at my calendar and I see what time Shabbat's coming in. And I tell my children already, Mommy's lighting Shabbat candles in like 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I give them that warning or that preparation time. I've always felt it's the nicest thing that my children light with me, that they see Shabbat is in. I'm not into like the kids are all over the house. They know when Mommy calls, it's all time, or they all come running from around the house and they come and light with me. What I do is I always prepare a little treat for them. They know, they almost like to tell me what's the treat we're having this Shabbat. Why do I do a treat? First of all, because Shabbat is all about having fun and having a nice Shabbat treat. And also because it's my time to pray when I light Shabbat candles, and they can get a little bit fidgy just standing there waiting. So they know they've got the Shabbat treat and they can have it while I'm standing there. Okay. So I've called all my kids down. I've got the Shabbat candles there, and I have a little tzedakah box next to my Shabbat candles. And I think it's just a custom, a very nice thing to do, to put a penny in the tzedakah box. And I sing, did you bring a penny? And all my kids know, and they put the penny in the tzedakah box. I'm not sure what the custom is, Rabbi Birnbaum. What is the custom? Why we do it? One good deed leads to another. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I think because it's a powerful time, actually. The time when a mother, or could sometimes be a father, but is lighting the candles before Shabbat is what's called an Eit Ratzon, which means a time of heavenly favor, time when Hashem looks down at us, gives us a smile and says, you know, what are you going to ask for? So therefore we take advantage of that. Really, it's an opportunity. We tap into that by giving some tzedakah just before you light the candles. A lot of ladies have a little tzedakah box, just like Sarah said. And also there's a special prayer, which I'm sure Sarah's going to tell us about as well, to take advantage of the moment.
Right, excellent. Okay, so I light the Shabbat candles. We first do the candles. And then once I've lit the candles, just before I light the candles, we wave. I'm not sure if you've noticed people waving. What is this wave that people are doing? I think it's symbolic to wave away like the week and all the worries and the rushing and all the rest of it, and just bring in that holiness. It's almost like that wave of goodbye to the week and bringing in Shabbat. So we wave, we light the Shabbat candles, and then we make the bracha. And then there's a special prayer afterwards. And this is my favorite time of the week. This is all that rushing and going and homework and car rotors and all the things that we're rushing and shopping and errands and everything. And it's like, Shabbat is here. So we have to make the most of that lovely moment. And as Rabbi Birnbaum said, it's a special time to pray. So I stand there just for a few minutes. I make the bracha, I have Yehi Ratzon, and then I have a little time to pray. And actually, somebody once told me something really interesting. She said to me, tell your children what you're praying for. I never thought of that. So after I've lit and I've said my prayer and I say Shabbat Shalom, and I give each child a hug and I say, Mommy loves you. And then afterwards I tell them, do you know what Mommy was praying for? The joke goes, as they get older, I hear them whispering, Mommy's davening that I should do well in my exam. And Mommy's davening that it's really funny, that I get to go on the outing, even if there's going to be Corona. And I hear them whispering what it is, which I think is lovely because they know I'm thinking about them when I light Shabbat candles. And obviously I tell them I'm not just thinking about them, but I'm thinking about lots of people all over the world. And it's a time to pray for lots of things, not just for my own family, but for everybody else. And then Shabbat has come in.
If anyone, can I just interrupt? If anyone wants to see that prayer, have a look in the Art Scroll Siddur. It's on page 296. Okay, if you've got the regular Art Scroll Siddur, page 296, you've got it in Hebrew and English, and both are valid. If you prefer, you can say it in English as well. That's fine.
Great. Now, you might have noticed it wasn't just 2 candles that I had up there, but I had a few more candles. Now, it wasn't my mum's custom. She only lit 2 candles my whole life. It was my husband's custom. His mother would like an extra candle for each child. And many families have taken on that custom. And I used to say to my children, each child that was born brought new light into my life. And therefore, I like the extra candle because you brought new light into the world. And that's why I like this extra candle, which is just a nice thing to do. And I have extra candles. If you've never had this custom before, apparently you can just take on the custom as well. It's not something that you can't or you can. You're more than welcome to do that. Okay, so that's what happens in my house on Shabbat. Just a few nice ideas I wanted to share with you about lighting Shabbat candles. Okay, so it's a bit like, when you walk into your child's bedroom and it's all dark and you can't see anything. And then all of a sudden you turn on the light. When you turn on the light, all of a sudden you see everything so clearly. What you couldn't see before, you knew was there, but you couldn't see it. Oops, let me just turn off the phone 1 second. So it's the same thing when we light our Shabbat candles. The whole week we're rushing, we're going, we're doing, we're not thinking. We're all in a confused state. And when we light the Shabbat candle, it just brings that, all of a sudden I'm like, it's Shabbat. Who am I? Where am I going? What is life all about? What am I trying to achieve? So that's what the candles are supposed to make us feel when we light them. And I'm sure you all know that the candle is compared to the soul. Just like a flame, however much you turn that match, whichever way you turn the match, the flame of the match is always upwards. It's never going down because a flame is always trying to reach upwards. Just like a person's soul, and each person's soul is always trying to go higher, go closer to Hashem, closer to God. And actually, someone just mentioned to me recently, the flame of it has to rely on the candle. You can't have a candle without the flame. You can't have a flame without the candle. So just like a person, you have to have a body can't be without the soul, and the soul can't be without the body. Each one needs the other, and each one is just as important as the other. Okay, so it's actually really interesting because another aspect of a candle is you light a candle and you have a candle up with you, and then you try and light another one. The first candle doesn't burn out when you light the other candle. It stays burning, which is a message that you can give and give and give, and you never run out. Just like a mother always gives and gives. So actually, when I met my husband for the first time, I was asking him, so what yeshiva did you go to? Where were you? And he said to me, I was in yeshiva in Manchester, a yeshiva called Shara Torah, and I was there for 4 years, and then I went to Israel. And I said to him, did you enjoy it in yeshiva? He said, yeah, it was amazing. It was wonderful. I had a fantastic time, and I really grew in my learning. So I said to him, so why did you stop? Why didn't you just carry on? Why did you leave after 4 years and go to Israel? So he said to me, because you can't light another candle if the first candle is burnt out. He said to me, I wanted to leave yeshiva while I was still flying and happy and enjoying myself and not wait till it's burnt out. And I said to him, that's what sold it. I was done. I thought, already at that age, he's already thinking about life. Okay. We always joke about it now. Anyway, so that's another message of the candles. Of a person is always should look out in life to give, and especially as a mother, we're always giving, and you never run out by giving. I'm just wondering what the time is. Should we wrap up, Rabbi Birman?
Yep, I think so. One more thought.
Okay, so I had a few more things, but I wanted to share with you one more thing, which I'm sure you've already heard before, but it's so beautiful that I just had to read it again. Okay, so let us see to what extent candle lighting has become associated with our nation. On January the 1st, 2000, the New York Times ran a Millennium Edition. It was a special issue that featured 3 front pages. One had the news from January the 1st, 1900. The second was the actual news of the day, January the 1st, 2000. And then they had a third front page projecting envisioned future events of January the 1st, 2100. This fictional page included things like a welcome to the 51st state, Cuba, a discussion as to whether robots should be allowed to vote, and so on. And in addition to the fascinating articles, there was one more thing. Down on the bottom of the year 2100, front page were the candle lighting times in New York for January the 1st, 2100. Reportedly, the production manager of the New York Times, an Irish Catholic, was asked about it. His answer was right on the mark. It speaks to the eternity of our people and to the power of Jewish ritual. He said, "We don't know what will happen in the year 2100. It's impossible to predict the future, but of one thing you can be certain, that in the year 2100, Jewish women will still be lighting Shabbat candles." So that's our lovely mitzvah, which we can embrace every week on Erev Shabbat. Plenty more to say, but as time is running out, I'll hand you back to Rabbi Birnbaum.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Sarah. That was lovely. I'm feeling it's already Shabbos. All that talk of lighting the candles, I can just see it already. It's beautiful. I'm just going to turn my Zoom off.
We're not ready yet, Gila, are we? We've got more to do.
You're not, and it's my fault.
Birnbaum sending his fairies over. Everything's good. We're all good.
Seriously. Okay, just a question in from the Starks to end off in winter. What do you do between candles and eating? And when is a good time to eat? Okay, I can tell you that in the Birnbaum family, we are quite eager to eat. Essentially, what happens is we light the candles and then there's some time for davening. So, you know, normally not in the current circumstances, but normally I'll be in shul, and it normally would take about an hour or so to come back. By the time you come back from shul, so normally we'll start eating as soon as we get back. And remember, when you sit down to eat, you've still got some of the songs to sing. There's Shalom Aleichem, there's Eishes Chayil. It takes time to sort of actually get to, you know, then there's Kiddush, and then there's Hamotzis. Until you actually get to the food, we normally find that that's, you know, we're very hungry by that time. I don't know about the Silkins, but that's, I can tell you about the Birnbaums.
Definitely.
So look, there's no requirement to start eating straight away, though, especially when Shabbos is very early. And nowadays, you know, a lot of people are not going out of the house, not going to shul. So if you'd like to light candles and then just take a break, you know, go for a walk or play a game, start eating at 6 o'clock or whatever it is, then that's absolutely fine. I would say, you know, you get into a rhythm of what works best for you as a family on Shabbat. You get into a rhythm, and the more that you do it, then the more you develop that rhythm, you know, especially with children. Like every family's kids want to do something different on Shabbos afternoon. You have some kids that, you know, as soon as they're finished the meal, they run off to friends. You have other kids that curl up on the couch with a book. You know, then you have those that sit there with their board games that they're playing. You know, people, you know, the families, you'll get into a rhythm of how things work, and then that will be you'll feel out what the best time is, you know, with the eating and with what to do during the Shabbos. Okay.
On that note, can I just add one thing, Rabbi Birnbaum?
Sure.
Is because you reminded me when you say, and I don't know where everyone is in the Shabbat observances, but when I remember back in the days when it was like starting, and everything, you know, you may listen to a class like this and there's like so much information, but obviously, as what Rabbi Birnbaum said, it's never all or nothing. But also it gets easier with time, right? You kind of figure out even questions like, what do I cook for Shabbat lunch, or what do I do with the kids on Shabbat, or what do I do in that time? You sort of figure it out, and it really, really does get a lot easier with time. So don't worry for wherever you are. It's just the fact that you're on this class, you are absolutely amazing. And it's a privilege, really a privilege to spend time with you all on a Thursday night.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's goodbye then from myself and from Gila and from Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week at 8:30 on Thursday, next Thursday, where I will, please God, be joined by the one and only Rebbetzin Dove, together with, I believe, Rabbi Aaron Litwin from Manchester. So we will be continuing with some of the ways to make sure that your kitchen is Shabbat friendly, some more of the laws about food preparation, and we'll do something about cleaning on Shabbat as well, and how to make sure that we can clean in a way that it is perfectly acceptable to do so on Shabbat. Okay, have a wonderful Shabbos, everyone. All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Good night.